time now for Coming In Hot with Brent Wallace and former Ottawa Senator Jason York.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Coming In Hot. Brent Wallace alongside Jason York and our reporter on scene, Graeme Nichols, who's at the rink waiting for Steve Staios. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you guys, too. How are you doing?
Good. If you have to leave at any moment, we understand. We know Steve Staios will speak at some point here after 3 p.m. We're just waiting to find out when that may be to explain what his thinking was and what he was making the decision on. This show, by the way, brought to you by Bet365, whatever the moment's number, ordinary Bet365. Let's get initial reactions. And Yorkie, I'll start with you as you being the elder statesman. Josh Norris is headed to the Buffalo Sabres along with Jacob Bernard-Docker. In return, Ottawa gets Dylan Cozens, defenseman. I almost called him, but I'll say Dennis Gilbert because I almost called him Raj Gilbert. And of course, the former Buffalo Sabre, right? And of course, a 2026 second round pick. Okay, Yorkie, give me your thoughts.
Well, I had video from this after. I had instant reaction from Charlie and I, but you know what? I said I'm going to save it for the show. Instant reaction. I'm actually shocked. I'm shocked because we talked about this for a while when Frank Cervelli brought it up the other day, saying that Norris's name's been out there for a while. I just didn't think there was going to be a team out there that was going to bring in a guy like Josh Norris. And I think Josh, when healthy, has played well, and he's had a nice little season this year. But again, he's had some injury issues this year as well. But it just goes to show you there's always a team in the league that is so unhappy with their team, and it's the Buffalo Sabres, where they're willing to give something in return that's not just draft picks or not just something that can help you right now. So I think this helps Otto right now. I really do. And the number one reason is you're getting a player over his last 3 years, guys. He's only missed, I think, 7 games. He's healthy. He's 6'3". He's scored before. And people will say Josh Norris has scored as well. Well, they both kind of scored in similar situations. They both scored on bad teams on years when, not that goal scoring is easy in the league, but they've both done it before. So I really like this trade for Otto. I like it for Buffalo too, because if Josh stays healthy and he goes there, he can be a really good player for Buffalo. But I think this kind of slots, like you've got your number one center in Timmy Stützle, who's your skilled guy, your number one power play guy. And now you've brought in a gritty, skilled 6'3" centerman that's totally different. And they could play that 200-foot game. And you still got Shane Pinto, who to me is your do everything center. So you've got 3 really good centers and a right shot too, which I think is great because depending on who your fourth line center is, you can line up with 2 righties and 2 lefties. You still have Giroux that takes a bunch of faceoffs as well. So I think this is a really good move for Staios. It makes them meaner, makes them tougher to play against. It makes them younger, and they save money too, fellas. Like, I don't know exactly what the money is, but they actually save money in this deal too.
They don't because of the adding of Gilbert.
Gilbert. But they lose Docker.
Sorry, you're right. They do.
So they do save money.
I forgot about JPD
and for people with Jacob Bernard-Docker, I just don't. He was not in Ottawa's plans. Obviously, I don't know if he's a real NHL defenseman yet. He still he still has to prove himself in this league. So I'm not sold on Bernard-Docker being an everyday NHL defenseman because he's a tweener. There's not really one thing he does well. I know he blocks shots, but he's not overly big. He's not overly offensive. So what is he? Hopefully he can figure that out in Buffalo too and get an opportunity to play. But he wasn't in Ottawa's plans, so he was a nice guy to parcel in. And the second rounder to me is an absolute bonus because as our Coming In Hot tech team so proudly tweeted out, that second rounder from Buffalo, that's going to be a really high pick. So that's very valuable.
And it gives them, Graeme, and it gives them some draft capital back because they didn't have, not that it really matters, they didn't have a second round pick in the 2026 draft. So we know they're going to lose a first. They are starting to, acquire some of those picks as assets to maybe further bolster their roster. Because you know what? They still need a top 6 player.
Last thing I'll say before I want to get Graham's thoughts on this is, what does everybody keep saying when they watch the Ottawa Senators? Tkachuk can't do it all. They need more of a physical presence. They need more jam up front. They need some more size. Well, he brings jam. He brings size. I personally thought they were too small down the middle too. So you add another 6'3" centerman down the middle. I think it's just a really smart move for Staios, who understands what the playoffs all about. Like, he knows you need to get harder to play against, need to get bigger. And you still got a guy that's a pretty skilled guy as well. So it's all in all, I think it's a very good move.
Yeah, I agree pretty much with everything that Yorkie said. Like, the opportunity to add a guy who's 2 years younger, who has a 30-goal season under his belt, and I think like one of the things that we didn't really focus on throughout the course of this year with Norris is that his analytical numbers were absolutely horrendous, and he is just essentially at this point it's his career. It's like he's just a shooter. Like he doesn't get the point. He doesn't get the puck efficiently from the defensive zone to the offensive zone. Well, you look at the struggles of a guy like Drake Batherson right now. Like, you need to get Drake Batherson going, playing at a high level all the time. And Cozens, over the course of his short career in Buffalo, has put up points at a higher rate than Josh Norris. So to get a guy who has that offensive skill set, albeit he's not the goal scorer that Norris is historically, but to add an offensive player like that who might be able to get more out of his line mates than Norris is able to, I think that's a huge opportunity for the Senators. And to get a second-round pick and a warm body on the left side who could potentially spell Travis Hammond against the team's third-pairing left defenseman with Cleveland out of the lineup is huge. It's just a little bit of depth. I don't expect anything of Gilbert at all, other than the fact that he's a warm body who plays the left side. But it's a win. I think to get a draft pick back, like Yorkie said, that could potentially be another high pick in the second round it's draft currency that this team unfortunately hasn't had the last few years, just through bad trades and short-sighted moves. So I think Ottawa did really well here considering the circumstances, and nobody was anticipating this. I think there's still time left on the clock. Or I guess it's already elapsed now. It's 3:07. But
but some still come in afterwards.
Tricklers, people tricklers.
Like I was anticipating Ottawa just focusing on the depth, whether it was the third pairing or on the fourth line, just to get maybe another center in who could play on the fourth line. And that, to this point, it hasn't happened yet. But like, those were the kinds of moves I was anticipating right off the hop. But to get Cozens,
sorry, Graeme. Julian McKenzie is saying that the Senators aren't done just yet. So maybe there's still a trade that needs to be registered in the Central Registry.
Not done yet.
What do you got for us, Julian?
Yeah.
What do you got for us?
He's over here too. You can poke your head in. You can poke your head in here and say,
"We can take anybody on the show." Yeah,
we'll take anybody on the show. Here he comes. What's up, guys?
What do you got for us, Julian? What's going on?
I can't hear anything because they're asking what's going on. What do you got for us?
All I could just say, that's all I've been told. I know we're gonna hear from Steve Staios in the hour, but we'll see.
Julian McKenzie on the
teaser.
You gonna put your earphone in my ear?
We're tight.
By the way, Brad Marchand went to the Florida Panthers.
No, he didn't. You kidding me? They got more snarly and more playoff ready with bringing
him and Sam Bennett.
Oh my God!
And Sam Bennett bonded over the Four Nations.
Are you joking? They really got Marchand.
Yeah, I'm not. Today's not the day to make stuff up. Yes, he is. He is going to the Florida Panthers. I just don't know what the return is.
It's nuts.
Yeah, so we'll get back to that. Okay.
The one thing I kind of touched on a bit is there's certain times when you can catch teams when they don't make rational decisions. And listen, Buffalo's getting a very good player in Josh Norris, but think of it from their perspective. They have a player that they're not really happy with this year in Cozens, but he's a young guy. Like, to me, that this is the year. Like, he's 6'3". He just turned, I believe, 24. So he's not that old. He's 6'3". When you're on a bad team like Buffalo, it's just really tough to evaluate. And this is when teams make mistakes. And the one good thing about guys that leave Buffalo, you usually end up playing a lot better than when you were there. And that's what it shows with a lot of guys from recent history there. But that's the time. Like, you can't get a guy that's that young, that's done what he's done at that point in his career, unless you find a team in a situation where they are so unhappy, things are so miserable, there's so much pressure. It's like buying a stock when it's just been shit on. That's the time to do it. So it's another reason why I really like this move, because you're getting a young guy that has a ton of upside. I just think this is a really good move for now and a really good move for the future.
And how many times have you seen players come out of Buffalo where it's like,
right?
It's like people question Jack Eichel's like commitment to defense and like his ability to fit into a room and his commitment to like the team game. And I think like echoing those concerns, I think like if there is a concern about Dylan Cozens' game, it's that his defensive aptitude isn't at the level of what you would expect for a guy with his pedigree and everything else. But at the same time, I think like you can't discount what a gong show like Buffalo has been for the past several years. That you look at the success of guys like Sam Reinhart and Eichel have had elsewhere. Obviously, they're very talented players, but like similar kind of thing, right? You're talking about a former top 10 pick who's well regarded in the prospect circle. So if you have a chance to acquire a guy for Josh Norris, like Yorkie said, who's had 3 shoulder surgeries, and you acquire a guy who's been able to stay in the lineup. I think he's only missed like 4 games in the last 3 years combined. That's a win. It has to be a win, and the fact that they save money on it and everything else, it's a great opportunity. They bought low.
I'll put it this way: like they still could trade for Ryan Donato, but that's the kind of move I thought they were going to be able to do just based on what teams would be willing to give up. But it just like it goes to show you there's always teams in desperate situations that just have to change things, have to change their fortunes. But I'm shocked at this one, fellas. It's really tough to get young players like this and pry them out of organizations because you usually don't trade these types of guys, let alone for and not like to your point. I hope Josh goes and has a great career and stays healthy and has 0 issues with his shoulder. Wally, I know you're good friends with him. He's a great guy. He's a friend of the show. Yeah, he's a great movie reviews too. He got me on Landman. So like, but hey, like this is the business, right? It's the business, and it's a tough day for a lot of guys, but it's part of the business. But I think for now, on the long term, this has a chance to be a home run for Ottawa.
And I will get back to more about Josh Norris in a sec, because I think there's more to say there. And let's get to Brady now. But first, this show brought to you, of course, by Charm and Charm's sister brands. More than 85 locations across the country with Charm Diamond Centers. Proudly Canadian owned and operated since 1972. Get the Charm Diamond FlexD card today and get pre-approved in-store financing. Don't pay until 2026. Don't forget they have the build a masterpiece of your jewelry in 4 weeks. Go to charmdiamondcenters.com. We're tight on time, but chosen forever, Charm Diamond Centers. Okay. Yorkie, take the Tims.
Well, what happened to your jingle? You didn't sing your song.
I just said we're tight on time. Now
people expect it.
I rushed right through it so that we would. Anyway,
just give me a bit. Give me something. No,
Jake,
you're not going to sing.
Just start reading. Give him the.
All right, give me the Timmies. Wally's not in the singy mood.
I'm upset today.
I know let's trade deadline's a tough day for everybody. So, when you have a tough day, you go get a Timmy's hot chocolate or coffee. It'll cheer you up. And it's also Roll Up to Win is back at Tim Hortons. So that means you can win millions of amazing prizes with just the swipe of your thumb. Imagine turning that routine Timmy's run into an unforgettable vacation from Sell-Off Vacations, and also a $1,000 Rakuten cash prize for an all-new, all-electric 2025 Volkswagen ID Buzz. That simple joy of winning that free coffee or donut can make anybody's day. You can even make Wally happy, but you only have until March 23rd. So open up that Tim's app and get rolling. This is our game, Canada, so don't let the chance of millions of amazing prizes pass you by. Play Roll Up to Win on the Tim's app right now.
I should have pointed out my favorite donut of all time is the Walnut Crunch.
That sounds about right. I had you for an old-fashioned plain type of guy, but I'll go a Walnut Crunch.
I did have a Boston cream yesterday. Anyway, okay. Back to Brady Tkachuk today. Now, obviously, well documented how close him and Josh Norris are. Mm-hmm. Here is the most emotional I've ever seen Brady Tkachuk. Here he is today talking about the trade with Josh Norris.
Tough day, emotionally, both the highs and the lows. Yeah, it's pretty tough. So, yeah, I don't want to. Yeah, it sucks. Losing a guy like that, obviously everybody knows how much it means to me. So, yeah, next question.
Have you had a chance to talk to him?
Yeah, no, just spent the last little bit with them and kind of take advantage of every minute the rest of the day. When did you hear?
Reflect on just the big picture of things. Like, why is it so emotional? Is it because you played with him for so long?
Yeah, I mean, just our history. Yeah. Sorry, I'm just gonna keep it short and sweet.
When did you hear this was going to happen?
Yeah, right before practice. I think that's why we went on a little bit later, but yeah, tough practice today.
So tough day for Brady Tkachuk, and that's the most I've seen from a player, period, in a long time over a buddy being traded. Quickly, Fabian Zetterlund has been traded apparently from the San Jose Sharks to the Sens. I'll get to that in a sec, but just guys, your thoughts on seeing an upset Brady Tkachuk over this move?
Well, it's his probably best friend on the team, and really this is the first time, right, a core piece has been traded from this group, and they're a tight group, and it's the first year where things have actually started to go positively for them. So I'm sure, obviously, you're always upset when one of your good buddies, teammates gets traded, and they go back a long time. Yeah, totally understandable. But I think the one thing people need to remember here is Tkachuk's a pro. He's going to wake up tomorrow. He's got 2 new guys coming in. He's going to handle it. He's going to welcome the guys, and you got to move on. It's just a tough day. Like, I went through it. I've been traded. I got traded off the airplane once. I got traded in the air, and I landed. And I got called in. Hey, we just traded you Anaheim. But and Norris has been here for a long time. It's one thing when you're there for a year or two, but Norris has came here in the Carlson trade. He had some roots here, so it's tough. I totally understand it, and that's what makes Tkachuk great, Graeme. He's an emotional guy. He wears his heart on his sleeve. He doesn't hide his emotions, so I see nothing wrong with it. He's emotional. It basically just happened. You get the mic stuffed in your face. I think it's just raw emotion. I got 0 issues with it.
No, it is for sure. And I think like the clip didn't extend to the point where he said, like he mentioned later in his availability that like he felt bad because like the first few comments reflected on his relationship, with his former teammates, but especially Josh Norris. But like he knows what they're getting. He knows that it's a business, and he acknowledged that. And he acknowledged the opportunity for this team to be better in the long run as well. So it's just, you're losing a close friend who's been there through the grind, and it's a tough day for everyone involved. They're humans, right? At the end of the day, they're friends and they're humans, and it's totally acceptable. And you just feel bad for those involved. I especially feel bad for Josh because you go through the trials and tribulations playing for the Ottawa Senators that are belling and touring the past several years. Where do you go when you finally get traded? It's the Buffalo. You might have to experience it. It's just it's tough.
You've grinded so long to try and get in, and I think all the guys in that room were thinking they're getting in, and hopefully they do. And then all of a sudden you're going there. It would be one thing if you're going somewhere where you got a chance to make the playoffs too. But I will say this: it sucks. It's bad. But at the end of the day, you're still playing in the NHL. You're still making a lot of money. It's not that bad. So it's raw emotion right now. But like I said, Josh will be fine. He'll go on and hopefully have a great career, and hopefully Ottawa, with the guys they got coming in, another big move now, Wally. So hopefully, I'd like to get into this too, because I think this kid's a sleeper they just got from San Jose.
Well, I'm still waiting. I'm trying to keep everything going here at the same time. I don't know what the return is for Zetterlund, but Fabian I was going to say Fabian Zetterlund to the Ottawa Senators, who's 25 years old, right-handed, left wing, shoots right, 220 pounds, 5'11". He's played 227 games, 50 goals, 111 points. Go ahead, Yorkie. What do you want to say about Fabian Zetterlund?
Well, we put 24 up last year, so on a very bad San Jose team. So we don't have the luxury of seeing the Sharks play a lot, but you put 24 goals up on a team. It's a similar situation probably to a Donato, right? Donato's got whatever he's got this year, 20 plus goals on a very bad team. So you're getting a guy that could score at the NHL level. Looks like he's a stocky guy that has some size. And here's the other thing. He's from the hometown of Magnus Arvidsson, Karlstad, Sweden. So maybe he's got a little bit of the machine in him. Magnus Arvidsson. You know what? I love the Swedes too. You can never get all the Swedes. I've never met a bad Swede. So You know, they're all good guys. 220 pounds, though. That's a big lad there. Only 5'11".
So
You can see
what
healthy legs.
That's a fire hydrant. Yeah.
Yeah. You can see what Steve Staios is doing here. It's adding some jam into his lineup. Whether or not Gilbert plays any minutes with Tyler Clevin being the third pairing left side, but Dylan Cozens plays a harder game. Zetterlund, I think, plays a bit harder game. They will go into the dirty areas.
It's funny, Graham. Everybody was like, how many people had Zetterlund on their trade board? Everyone was going, Donato. Then if you look at the stats, it's like, this guy can score at the same clip that Donato can, and he's not playing with Bedard. So, like, right? Not that he plays even strength with Bedard, but it's like it's the same scenario and the same type of goal scorer you're getting. The guy that can score on a bad team. So hopefully he can do that here in Ottawa. So it's adding some depth and adding a guy that, man, I just still can't believe he's 220 and only 5'11". That's he's
pending RFA pending UFA.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Wally just hit the nail on the head. Like he's a pending RFA, so like he affords you some team control. So
right,
unlike Donato, unlike Donato, who was just a pure rental at this stage. You get a guy who might offer you another year, 2, 3, depending on an extension. So, yeah, if that's ultimately who the Senators wind up getting, that's a nice little checkbox. That's a nice little checkbox for the top 6. They needed a winger, right? They need guys who can fill the net.
Yes.
Especially losing Norris as well, right? Like Norris is probably one of their more efficient shooters at 5-on-5. So if you get an opportunity to add a shooter and a playmaker and Cozens, nice job, Steve Staios.
17 goals this year as well for Zetterlund. Like that's 17 this year. It's not done. So that's a 20 goal scorer. So you're adding a 20 goal scorer. He had 24 last year. So there's your scoring depth, and you added some young grit down the middle. It's pretty good. Not done yet. I'd assume, unless something else trickles in. That's some pretty good business there by Steve Staios and company on trade deadline day, addressing some needs. And I think they're fine on defense. You get the depth piece back in the Buffalo move, and you've got 8 bodies you can move in and out.
I do like it. I think he's done a very good job of filling needs that they need, right? We'll see how this plays out on the ice, but I do like the way. I think they're a much better playoff team at the moment. They just got to get to the playoffs,
and the games are gonna turn into playoff games going down the stretch here for the Ottawa Senators. That's the type of hockey they're gonna have to play. Even that Chicago game, that was tight. There wasn't a lot of room out there. You had to battle for your space. It took everything for them to beat the Hawks, so it's not going to be an easy task. And you're going to need responsible players like Cozens. The MO on him is he plays a responsible game. I know the numbers aren't great, but that's on a Buffalo Sabres team. It's one thing to do when you come to he's going to come to a much more disciplined and much more structured hockey club, and players like a Cozens could thrive in this environment.
You hope so. It might be similar to like Kyle Turris. Like Kyle Turris escapes a bad situation in Arizona.
Yeah.
Comes to Ottawa and starts putting up points right away and flourishing. I think the trick for the Senators right now is going to be you have a guy who's playing on a really crappy Buffalo team where they haven't had a lot of team success. They have a lot of talent. Like we talked about this over the past week and a half on the show, Yorkie. It's like they have so much young name recognition, pedigree talent. But they haven't been able to put it together. So how do you integrate Cozens into your lineup during these meaningful games? Like tomorrow's game against the Rangers, it's just absolutely huge, just absolutely huge. You're throwing him right into the fire, and
he's going to be so jacked up to play in this game. Like this kid's from Western Canada. He's played in games at younger ages where there's actually stuff online. Like he's probably heard you're going to Ottawa in the middle of a playoff race, probably licking his chops right now like a butcher's dog. Just let's go. Like I'm telling, like this is as a player, and this is why I miss the most about playing the game. It's this time of year leading up to the playoffs. You go from a team with no hope to this. My God, he's going to be jumping. He'll play for sure tomorrow, and it's going to be fun to watch. I think he's going to do really well because it's going to give him a massive adrenaline rush. They're playing at home, playing the Rangers, probably going to be a full house. compared to Buffalo, where fans are you're getting booed.
Don't dump on the Buffalo fans. They have gone through enough. I will.
But
not,
I'm just telling.
I
I'm
will
not
not
dumping on
take
you.
the Buffalo slander.
What are they cheering at the Buffalo games?
Oh, it's okay. We're moving on.
Are they cheering? Is when Cozens goes on the ice, like, let's go, Cozens?
Listen, Yorkie, Buffalo
Answer
their
the
fans
question.
are fantastic, and they've gone through hell and back over 13 years of nonsense.
Did I say?
Yes,
Did
they
I
cheer. Love the fan base in Buffalo.
Are they cheering the Buffalo Sabres this year? Is that an environment that's fun to play in this year?
Listen, can we move? There's bigger things to talk about, like Mikko Rantanen today, but let's hang on a sec.
Answer the question.
My question is, does Dylan Cozens play in Josh Norris's spot? Or
That's a great question.
Just asking the question, or does Shane Pinto perhaps take that spot?
Well, let's go to Graeme first on this.
Don't you want to reunite Cozens and Batherson? Like Batherson was talking about Cozens this morning after the practice, and he was saying like Cozens had sent up like 4 or 5 exciting texts already. I think, I don't know, you could put Pinto there, but I think maybe you want to give Cozens the opportunity to play with some skilled guys first before deciding what you want to do. I don't know. I think ideally, I think you want to insulate the more skilled guy right away. Just give him some better guys to stand, just to play with, see if it works. Sure. But, I can see it go either way. I don't think ultimately it should matter over a small sample like that. But it'd be nice to see Cozens with Batherson. I'm also Renaud Lavoie from TVA, I believe, tweeted that it's Zach Ostapchuk going to San Jose. Fabian said it. So that's
Yorkie won't have to try to learn to say his name properly. So that's good. This is a win-win.
I finally got it. Wally Ostapchuk. That's too bad. That kid's got some potential, but that's a nice get for Ottawa. He's going to slide in nice. Some more skill on that right side. What's so funny, Graeme?
Matthew Tkachuk. I don't know if you guys saw this tweet as well. Chris Johnson reported that Brad Marchand to the Florida Panthers tweet. Matthew Tkachuk just replied to saying, "Holy shit!"
That's what I didn't believe it. It's crazy. Oh my God.
Like it was a very quiet day and suddenly got really out of hand quickly with a couple of big moves. Brandon Carlo ends up going to the Leafs at the end as Boston.
No, he didn't.
Apparently, yeah.
Oh,
how about like the Mikko Rantanen thing still? Like, is that all right? Hey, let's do the Bet365 ad read quickly as we get to I think things have changed now with the standings, if you will, for the Stanley Cup final, the favorite. Breaking news coming in from Bet365, where every nail-biting overtime win is a barn burner, every face-off, hat trick, power play, shot on goal, penalty shot, and every suspenseful minute in between is amazing. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary. Bet365, an official partner of the National Hockey League. Download Bet365 app today and use code NATION to get in on the game. Must be 19 years of age or older. Please play responsibly. Ontario only. Gentlemen, is the balance of power shifted at all? Is there a clear-cut favorite for you of who will hoist Stanley Cup here?
Holy shit. I'm looking at some of the moves that just got done. That's a fantastic move for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Probably the last thing Ottawa Senators fans want to hear. But man, I said this. I think I might have said this on the show or tweeted out. He's probably the best box out guy in the year as far as defending, keeping guys to the outside, and just playing smart. That's a really good ad for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I'm so intrigued to see what they gave up to get him because he still has term yet left, doesn't he, Graeme? Carlo?
Yeah, I believe he's got another year left on his deal after this one.
Yeah,
maybe 2 actually. We were looking at that the other day.
Yeah.
Is he around 4 million? Anyway, hang on 2
Yeah,
seconds. 4.1 million. He's signed signed for 2 more years.
It's a great deal. So he's going to help them a lot. That really shores up Toronto's blue line. I still think there's so much pressure in Toronto, and favorites in the East. I love what Tampa did. For me, it's Tampa and Florida. Like Florida adding Seth Jones, now Marchand, Tkachuk will be back. Barkov's the best 200-foot player in the game. Like they got everything. They got Bobrovsky. That's a stacked team. So Florida, Tampa, and Mikko Rantanen is going to just fit in so well in Dallas. So you'd have to think Dallas has set themselves up nicely. So too has Colorado.
I'm just going to interrupt for a second.
You got more coming in?
Well, Elliot Friedman's trade is Zetterlund, Robbins, and a 4th for Ostapchuk, and Ottawa's 2025 second round pick.
So Gregor goes the other way.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, you're getting in Zetterlund, like you're getting a guy that can score at this level. So you got to give something for that. Give some prospects. I like that Staios is taking a little bit of a shot here. Like get a little excitement here in the Ottawa area. Move a few pieces. Kind of rustle up the core a little bit and add in a young guy that can slide in and bring in Zetterlund. So, like I said, I like. I don't know about you guys. I like that move. What about you guys?
I was waiting to always see Gregor do more. I was always wanting more from him.
He can't score. Like he's an energy player.
He's just a slash guy for me. It's like anything he creates is just off the rush. It's like a 1 and out, or nothing at all. Like it's his speed offensively. If it's not off the rush, he's not doing anything for you offensively at all, and that helps on PK. I made him a decent penalty killer, but analytically, it's just like he was one of the Senators' weakest forwards, if not the weakest forward. And like nobody ever really talked about him, right? Like for all the slack, like Travis Hamonic isn't afforded on the back end. Like Gregor was kind of the equivalent at forward, but nobody talked about him.
You know what he is? He reminds me of a Carl Hagelin that's got no offense. Like it's basically skates around and you watch him. And that's why initially when I watch him, I'm like, man, he's fast. He's getting on guys, but not a lot happens. So obviously expendable guy. A stop check's the guy that to me, I have a little bit of a question mark. I'm like, he could develop into a nice NHL player if he increases his foot speed, gets a little more confident with the puck. But you got to give to get, right? So you're giving something that's going to get you in Zetterlund, and Zetterlund's not an old guy by no means. I think he's a 99. So
he's 25, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. So it's good move. Heavy winger. That's 220 pounds. Like put the puck in that. Never a bad thing to have on your team. And you didn't have to give up much. Like they didn't give up any other core pieces or really, any of their real core. Although I will say Ostapchuk's probably one of their best young prospects.
See, that's what they traded away Mark Kastelik last year, and now it's Zach Ostapchuk. Like that fourth line center spot is. You don't want to be that guy right now. It's cursed.
So who goes into that? Who
plays that spot?
Well, it's Adam Gaudette now, but he's never going to score
fourth line. He's staying on the wing. Yeah. But here's the thing: like, does Ridley Gregg drop down and play your fourth line center and play a little bit and play PK and play special teams? So you get his minutes up there. Like they got some options. They've got some options in what they can do with the lineup. You can move Cozens to the wing too. Like he's more than capable of playing the right side. If you want to go Stützle, Pinto, Greg, like you got options there too.
Right. That's the ideal middle of the ice.
Well, then you can have that big winger with some scoring touch that plays with some jam and Cozens on your right side. So there's some options for you.
I really like the fact they just like my concern coming into this was that they would trade for guys who weren't controllable. Like, you just get a pure rental and, you get 20 games to the guy and then he's gone. But I think like the benefit, you can talk about giving up Ostapchuk, who was a relatively high pick. You can talk about giving up a 2025 second round pick to get Zetterlund, but like he's 25 years old. He's young. He has term left, controllable term. And I think like if that's the kind of sneaky move that you want to see this organization make. Like go get a 25-year-old who's proven he can score 20 goals in this league. That's just those kind of players aren't that easy to acquire, and it's kind of under the radar. And you have to appreciate the efforts that the management's going to bring in some guys who can help the team this year.
Is this now a playoff team, guys?
Paper, aren't they already a playoff team?
They're in now, Wally. They're in.
Got to hang on to that spot. Yeah,
I think they're more of a playoff team today than they were before trade deadline. With the moves they made today, I think they get a centerman that more fits the style they need to play to get into the playoffs and to win in the playoffs. They upgrade on your wing with some scoring, which everyone says they've needed. So everyone was hot to trot for Donato. So you basically, to me, you've brought in a player that can score like Donato, but probably plays a little more jam. I wasn't impressed, guys, to tell you the truth, with Donato in that Chicago game. He's got a lot of, I know it's one game, but I'm sure Ottawa's watching that game. They're like, he's got a lot of holes defensively, like a lot of flybys out there.
He doesn't have to have defense in his game in Chicago. But
But that's the thing. But Wally, listen to me for a sec. That's what happens. That's kind of when you bring a guy in with only 20 games left in the season, you have to integrate him into your style of play. And with the way Ottawa has had success, is Green wants guys to play the right way, make high percentage plays, don't do flybys, and play 200-foot games. So that's why I like the Cozens move. Like, you have a guy that's his pedigree. That's the way he plays. And this is they have an identity here they're trying to win by, and they're trying to acquire guys that fit into that style.
My favorite tweet of the day was I think it's like James Wood was talking about how you could trade a brother, but you brought in some cousins.
All I can think of is, and I'm going to really date myself, is the Bob Newhart show where they have, "Hi, I'm Larry. This is my," isn't it? Oh, it's my
Daryl?
brother Bob. It's my Daryl.
It's my other brother Daryl. It's my other brother Daryl.
Two cousins.
Or the guys on Shoresy. Where all the is it the gyms?
Yeah.
I'm Jim.
Yeah.
I'm Jim. Jim. The gyms.
I don't know how we get so sidetracked sometimes. Back to Brady for a second. That was the Dennis Gilbert. I was just looking through trying to find, and then I was like, Brady and Dennis Gilbert know each other very, very well.
Yes, they do.
Now. They had a little, how do we say, Jake? Want to throw it up? A little mix-up earlier in the year. Looking forward to seeing how they have a conversation afterwards. I believe Brady may have gotten the better of this, though.
Gilbert, you got to grab the arm. Don't grab the middle of the sweater. You're just setting yourself up for take some.
I always like it when the guys who have fought meet back up in the locker room as teammates afterwards.
Yeah. Well, it's gonna be so funny when Marchand rolls into Florida's locker room and goes to shake Jack's hand, because those two go at it all the time. It's great.
Is Florida now the best team in the East?
They have to be, right? Assuming Tkachuk comes back and he's 100% or close to it. Like, how do you bet against that team right now? I know Tampa made some nice moves to bolster the quality of their depth and stuff, but like, I don't know. I don't know if there's anybody else in the conference that can contend with that.
Yeah, man, I love that little rat, Yanni Gord, and I'm a big Oliver Bjorkstrand guy. I think those guys are going to help Tampa immensely. They're both quick. They're both. I think it's going to be super interesting. I agree. Florida's well. Hey, listen, you're the champs until someone beats you, right?
Yeah.
So they got that going for them. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see with Tkachuk how healthy he is coming back, right? Like, groins are tough.
It's a huge day, though. Like, how many years have we been talking about putting down the Boston Bruins, and today was the day. They trade Marchand, they trade Carlo, and it's like, it's over. It's finally over.
Charlie Coyle, too.
Yeah, Charlie Coyle. Yes. You're right. Yeah, and I think you look at like Toronto, the capital that they're moving out. You look at what Florida and Tampa are doing in terms of like the assets that they've moved out, futures, and it's like, give it 2 or 3 years, maybe. It's gonna be wide open.
Somebody's losing in the first round who's gone
out.
That's
it too.
Right?
It's like Colorado.
Carolina, by the way,
yeah.
I thought Carolina coming into the year, maybe the team to come out of the East, they're not even close to what they were. They've completely mishandled that situation.
So, Wally, to your point there, here's the thing with Ottawa for the moves they did today. They're set up now to take a shot at getting into the playoffs. But Graeme brought up the point, you control the assets, right? Both of the big pieces in both your deals there, Zetterlund and Cozens, are under contract. They're both relatively young. So both of them, too, really haven't been in this position either, where you're trying to get into the playoffs. They're going to grow with these players as well and be better for it. So I like it for now, but I really like the moves for Ottawa. It's like they've done well for today, but I think they've done even better for the future, especially with Cozens. Like that's a piece you just normally can't get. You can only get it when teams are in desperate times and make not always rational decisions.
Mm-hmm. I think we talked about how thin Ottawa's farm system is in terms of the draft capital and prospects and everything else that they've given up over the past several years, big name deals that just didn't work out. And I think if you have the opportunity to add, 24-year-old Dylan Cozens and like a 25-year-old Fabian Zetterlund, that helps because you're missing some of those young guys who should theoretically be a part of your lineup right now. So to add two guys who are a little bit older who have NHL experience and have had success in this league. I think those are the kinds of moves that this organization should be making. And I think the front office should get applauded for it.
I used to hate it when I was on teams and we'd bring in like a guy that was like a decent NHL player, but he wasn't really any better than you had on your roster, but you just brought him in because it's like, we need to do something. This guy comes into your locker room. He ends up playing. You gave up some draft picks for him. And then after the season, he leaves. It's like, well, what did we get this guy for anyhow? It's like teams that do that. It's like you're almost just making a trade to make a trade to show your fan base, hey, we did something, but you haven't really thought it through. And it's just like, it never made sense to me as a player. And so many times I was on teams that would do that. And it's teams make that mistake so many times, fellas.
I think this team is a much grittier group down the stretch, where we all said all year long how we were expecting to see like Perron and Greg and company be a lot grittier. I don't think they were. I think now they may end up being that group that's a real pain in the ass. We'll see.
Throw the lines up for a sec there. Let's do a little grit factor check here now with the
they're not updated, but
just we'll throw the guys in here. Like if you throw Cozens in there, so if I would say the one thing I would say about when you had the combo of Batherson and Norris together, and both players when they were on, really good players, but the knock would always be, it would be nice if there was some more grit in there. So you'd have to think Cozens upgrades that grit factor a little bit. You got the Tkachuk on your first line, and you got Ridley, Gregg, gritty guy on your. So you've got some nice grit now sprinkled throughout your first three lines, which you're going to need.
So I'm just looking at this now. So if you put Zetterlund in,
where does he go?
Sure yeah, exactly. Like where's
if you move Greg to the fourth line center, does he fit in as a third line?
So you'd have Gaudette and Highmore on your fourth line. Yeah.
Well,
there's offense. There's offense with every line. There's grit and agitation for sure.
If you're going righty lefties, he's a righty, I believe. Amadio's a righty. You got options, right? And and who knows if everyone's going to stay healthy. You've got depth, you've got options, and you've got NHL options now. It's like you're not plugging guys into holes. You're like,
But hope this guy Zetterlund plays left.
Yeah, well, there you go.
But he shoots right, but plays left. I don't know whether that matters, but anybody, and he can move around. But that's why I think you could see him there, maybe.
I think they're going to put him in an opportunity to succeed. I don't think you're going to bring in Zetterlund and say, okay, we want you to score. You're going to play on the fourth line and get 9 minutes.
Right. I think he moves up for sure.
So
like you would think he gets. So where do you move David Perron? Did you put him on the third line? Greg to the middle.
Reunite him. Reunite
Zetterlund.
That's what I would do. I think
Greg's playing really well right now, boy. Like I want more Ridley Gregg than less Ridley Gregg right now.
Right. But
so interesting. I wouldn't want to be the coach right now. My foot in the air. It's a lot tougher than people think, because now you've got to figure out the jigsaw puzzle, right? Where a guy's going to fit. And you know what? Guys will play themselves where they're supposed to be, and it'll start Saturday night. That's my best coaches always used to tell us, you guys are going to decide who plays by the way how you play. And one thing Travis Green's really good at doing in-game adjustments. He'll adjust accordingly on where he sees, and it'll take some time. It'll take some time to figure it out, but he'll figure it out, and the guys will decide where they play.
Graeme, are you getting any update on Steve Staios here?
Some of the guys left for the room, but I haven't heard anything.
I haven't seen.
I was supposed to get one of the guys said he would fire me a text when they got wind of it, but we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, so, they're all home now.
Someone from another publication, so yeah. I haven't heard anything. I mean, I can go off camera and double check if you want.
That's okay. I was just curious of what was going on. Anyway, quickly, this show brought to you by Club EG. As I just need to get to it. Golf season's quickly approaching. Club EG is your best bet for amazing golf season in and around Ottawa. Our one membership with Club EG gets you access to 60 amazing golf courses at member-only rates. Check out the courses online. We're giving away foursomes for the next few months. So clubs like the Marshes, Equinel, Le Sorcier, Mountain Creek, Hammond. If you want to see them all, go to clubeg.golf. Plenty of different packages to suit you, and check out and see what they've got. So you know what? In fact, if you email the show and say, let's tee it up with Club EG, we will give away a foursome to Le Sorcier. Okay. I'll get back to that a bit later. And if I don't get to you today, I will let you know on Monday who the winner is. Quickly on Josh Norris, who I'm sad to see him go, because one, we were pretty good, but like we weren't
good dude,
doing
great dude
together. But the one thing, when he got hurt just before the break or just during the break, he was supposed to host a show with us, and I'm crushed.
I know,
crushed that he didn't get to do the show, because I think
he was also supposed to come in as our weekly Josh at the movies. He was going to have but it's part of. That's the sad part of this game, Wally. Good guys sometimes have to be traded. It's not a fun part. It's not a fun part of the business. It really isn't, but it is what it is.
So I'll cheer from him he can win Buffalo. I think they play each other March 25th. I will cheer for him to have a hat trick and hope that Ottawa wins like 5-4.
There you go.
So
where should people send their sympathy cards for you, Wally? Address, please. Email.
Just money. We're gonna set up a GoFundMe so I can go out and buy a steak.
Mourn Josh Norris, and we will mourn him. You'll remember him.
Me and Janny.
Maybe when Josh comes to town, you could take him. If it's Tuesday, you could take him to Lone Star for 50% off.
Don't encourage this, Graeme. No, don't encourage it.
Somebody tweeted at me today. He goes, "What's going on? Any more news going on with the trades?" I'm like, I don't know, but Wally is perusing the internet right now for another 50% off voucher for a local Ottawa restaurant. Oh, you're a grinder.
What'd you wind up doing for your anniversary, by the way? I never asked.
Oh, yeah. Ask him. I'll tell you what he did.
You set this up.
No, this was not set up. He took his wife to Lone Star because he wasn't going to take her for dinner, but she had to come on the show and beg to go out for dinner. But he picked Lone Star because it's 50% off on Tuesdays.
Oh, that's awesome.
What a romantic.
Right? Is that not the smart thing to do?
No.
She likes fajitas.
So we got to get a new, so in some parts I've known as the smartest man in hockey. Wally, you are now the cheapest man in hockey.
That's not true. I nailed it. I don't know what the problem is. By the way, she got a card made by me. I didn't get anything in return.
Once again, free card.
We're moving on.
All right. Well done, Graeme. Well done.
I don't even know what else. Have we got anything left even to talk about? I don't even know at this point.
When's Staios talking? When's he going to speak?
I could be right now. I could be missing it. I'm having too much fun here, so I could be missing it.
I'm trying to scouring the internet to find out, but Steve Staios is talking.
Is it? Shit.
He said we made our team better today. That's all. I think
that's what matters.
I think maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm reading this wrong.
People don't need to hear it. We already told them that on the talk show. They're better today.
You
think they're better, Graeme? You think they're better?
I think they're probably a much better team. Like, I love Josh Norris as a person. He was fantastic.
Great guy.
Dealing with one-on-one professionally. Like, if you needed anything, it was like you could count on Drake Batherson, Josh Norris, and Shane Pinto to be available every morning.
Yeah.
After practice, whatever they would talk, they were always in the room, willing to talk to reports and everything else. Makes our job really, really easy. But as a player, like watching him develop, he had a big goal season, everything else. But like the one thing that I was drawn back by just this year is like the analytics were terrible, and routinely his line would get caved this season. And that was the concern. I think that was the weak spot for the lineup. And I think if you can get a Dylan Cozens and buy low on Dylan Cozens, and he winds up being a better 200-foot player than his numbers of Buffalo would indicate, then I think you're going to come out laughing.
Yeah. What was the biggest thing I used to point at, and people that used to be critical of the Senators when they weren't winning is what you got. Remember when you had all the offensive guys and you had 12 guys for your power play? They had the cat, they had this guy and that guy. It's like you have too much of the same thing. And I look at the way their center ice position was constructed. I just like the fact this brings in a big body, because Stützle's going to play 20 minutes every night. That's your go-to horse for, puck possession, first power play, creating offense. You still need offense in your second line center, but he doesn't have to be a 35 goal scorer. You're better off having maybe a 25 goal scorer, but a guy that just like he makes the other team's players battle for every inch of ice on that you're playing against him. But when you're up against him, it's going to be a hard night. He's going to make things hard. He's going to finish. And one thing I'll say about Josh Wally, and you and I talked about this, I will give him a lot of credit. I thought his penalty kill this year, his shot blocking, and you can't discredit his faceoffs. He is a really good faceoff guy. One of the best on the center. I think he's 54%. But when he wins them, there's some guys that win them and they just kind of hang around behind them. Josh snaps them back cleanly. So faceoffs are going to miss. And their PK wasn't great, so it's not going to be that much of a loss. But I thought his defensive game got a lot better. And I think he deserves credit for when he was healthy. I thought his two-way game got a lot better.
Well, first of all, the first time you've ever scored shorthanded goals, and you had 3 of them this season. Second of all, he doesn't really have any say about where he's supposed to be positionally on the penalty kill that Graeme despises with a passion.
The diamond.
The
diamond.
We love our diamonds here, just not the diamond
formation. Passive. I 100% agree with Yorkie. It's when it's passive and they're just standing around watching plays develop instead of like just pushing and pressuring guys to make mistakes. They're just sitting back and then they force it down low, and then that cross-ice pass is just almost available like 6 times out of 10. It's frustrating to watch. But
yeah.
Can
see how it goes.
Can we also just mention that Erik Brandstrom is also a Buffalo Sabre today?
What happened? Do tell.
What happened to the short king? What happened?
Short king. How did he get in Buffalo?
I don't know. Buffalo
What's
is
the
going.
deal?
They're all in. I don't know.
Wow. They're all in.
They clearly just needed to. I don't know what the deal is. I don't know why. Like, I don't know. This is like his 6th NHL team. The internet.
Let's thank our good friends at BI before we move on here, Wally. Spring's just around the corner. Actually, sun. It's going to be plus 11 later next week, fellas. There's going to be a massive melt. And with saying that, BEI can help you with a lot of your landscaping needs, pretty well all your landscaping needs, stone, aggregate. Maybe you're thinking of getting your driveway redone. Bonisher Excavating is here to help with some competitive pricing on all your landscape needs. Give them a call at 613-432-1120 or go to bonisherexcavating.com. BEI is helping to shape the Ottawa Valley.
By the way, for Nicholas Abe Kubel.
I don't even know what that is.
Speedy 4th line forward. That's so good.
Oh, God.
Nicely done.
Who has more fun than us on a Friday afternoon at trade deadline?
I don't know. I just appreciate everybody tuning in. Here, you know what? In fact, because everybody's been so good, let's give away a Eric's Gravy Boat again. We have a Sens Gravy Boat. So email the show, cihsens@gmail.com. Just everything is gravy. That's all you got to say. Everything is gravy. I'll pick a winner for a gravy boat, because who doesn't want a Sens Gravy Boat?
Absolutely.
So now Buffalo has a D pairing of Erik Brandstrom and JBD, as I will like to point out.
Oh, boy.
What could have been?
Well, Brady, if
I will say too, like JBD, we haven't really talked about it all. Like I will say, like that guy is another, like, cut from the same cloth as Josh Norris. Like probably one of the most respectful professional athletes I've ever had had the pleasure of dealing with, and I hope he gets an opportunity to showcase himself as a player. And hopefully
I was talking to some of the development guys, and they just said that kid, Jacob Bernard, just works his ass off. Like, it's just, you never have to tell him twice. He's just great pro. So
yes, I do hope him well.
Yeah, absolutely. Good people you always hope the best for. But it'll be interesting. It's what type of, you just need an opportunity, right? He wasn't going to get it here. And for the franchise, he needs to go somewhere we can get it on the power play. Like, stop trying to, he's not a penalty killer. Like, put him on the power play. Like, that's what he does. But hey, when you jump around a bunch of teams like that, you're hey, maybe he will on Buffalo. Maybe he'll get an opportunity. Oh no, they have enough offensive D. Although, were they able to move? Because one of the guys on the trade block today, which I was shocked, was what's the name of the kid they got from Colorado, Graeme? The defenseman there was captain of Team Canada.
Bowen Byron.
Bowen Byron. He never got moved, eh? I didn't see his name pop up.
I don't believe so. No.
I was like, why the hell do you want to move him? Like, that guy's a good defenseman.
I think Kevin Adams is a panic mode. Like, if this trade goes sideways, like that's the kind of deal that'll get you fired. You know,
wow.
You got to, if you're going to move a Cozens, or you have to win those trades, or else they'll come back and bite you in the ass.
Jack Eichel.
Yeah,
that's different though. That one's different.
Sam Reinhart, like, why did they trade Sam Reinhart at that junction of their franchise development? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, crazy.
Quick poll in our YouTube chat. Are you happy with the trades today? Yes, but I wanted more, or no? Yorkie, what would you vote today?
Yes, I said that earlier. I am happy. If I'm a Sens fan, on what Steve Staios, Dave Poulin, and Ryan Bonus were able to do today. I thought they addressed needs. Goal scoring, winger, got it. Added size down the middle that can score, is young, and you have him under contract at a pretty good term, and you save some money. So I think it's a very successful day.
Graeme, you're a no guy. I know it.
He's 100% yes.
Today was great. Can't complain about anything. I thought I was kind of intrigued to see whether or not they might try and free up some money by moving the goaltender, but so that never happens.
Yeah. So you're shocked. You're shocked. You're surprised that Anton Forsberg is still an Ottawa Senator.
No, I thought that would have been like the easy avenue, right, to go down if you had to clear money. You had to bring in a player. Like, obviously, going into the day with $850,000 of cap space, it's not a ton of money to go make an impactful move to help reward these guys for where they are this season. But to their credit, they've gone out and made some big splashes, and I don't think anybody was really anticipating the two moves that they made today. And you know, I think it's in a different alternate reality where they needed cash, I thought Anton Forsberg was the easiest guy to move, or just to find a way. And obviously, we saw, of course, like Peter Mrazek was moved, so teams were willing to take on some bad money to do it. And I don't know, that would have been an easy avenue to take.
Wally, tell me why you're a little bit unhappy about the moves.
I'm not. It's only because of Josh Norris. It's a completely personal thing.
So you're saying
I'm not on. I believe this team is a better team.
It's got a heart. The salty man has a heart. It's like the Tin Man finding the heart at the end of the.
It's like the Grinch that stole Christmas. We should have like the Grinch that stole Wally's heart. It grew and it grew.
Oh. Graeme, I don't know if you're gonna be allowed on the show anymore.
Right.
He's great.
You're just encouraging this. I can't deal with it.
Are you gonna be okay? Do you need a moment?
No, I'm okay. I'm a little less emotional than Brady, but
you're gonna be okay. Like, he's gonna be okay. Like he's making.
You could have like a blossoming bromance with Cozens when he arrives, though. Like, you know, you can't. Are you gonna be cold with Cozens when he comes here?
Who do you think you are?
Josh was my friend.
That's right. I can't talk to you.
Just tough love.
Ethan Butcher, you are the winner of our Sorcerer foursome golf, and I have it somewhere. Aiden Ingram, you are the gravy boat winner. Everything is gravy.
Congrats.
I was looking at Zetterlund's line mates in San Jose, actually, like what you guys were talking. So you know how we had concerns about Ryan Donato playing exclusively like Connor Bedard over the last 2 years. Zetterlund was playing with William Eklund, and where is the tab now? He was playing with Michael Granlund, who actually had a really good season for San Jose before getting traded. But William Eklund, who's still a good player, but Michael Granlund and him. So if you put him with some talent, he can put up some points.
Oh, hey, producer Eric has chimed in on the chat. I don't know where he's getting this info from, but he's all over Twitter and X. He's engaging with everybody. He says Sharks fans are going crazy because they lost Zetterlund. They're going crazy, not happy. Sorry, he's on Reddit now. He's on all different platforms. He's getting it from Reddit. So
I will steal a tweet because I don't know. Everyday Sens is just saying, because Dylan Cozens was on TSN 1200. I'm sure you can hear the whole thing now. That asked why he couldn't sustain his production from a couple years ago. Cozens danced around Buffalo being Buffalo. So there's a lot going on there, but he thinks he can get back to it. That's about as honest as you can be.
What's that nickname they call him again? The what's his nickname there?
The workhorse from Whitehorse.
The workhorse from Whitehorse. Like, come on, you're trotting into town with that handle. The workhorse from Whitehorse. Come on, enough said.
Steve Staios is still not available yet, guys. So
okay.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I think they're still waiting on the trade call.
Just for people that by chance who may not know, you can make a trade as long as it's into the NHL registry before 3, but then you have to actually go through a call where you go over contracts and exactly what the deal is. So that can take time as they're all in the queue.
Just make sure you mention the no trade clauses.
If they get asked for one, you bring it up.
Make sure. Don't misremember.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Did you guys? I don't know if I brought this up yet on the show. Did you guys watch any of the TSN panel today with Mark Giordano? Mark Giordano was excellent. I thought he was great. So there's a guy that's recently retired, right? Played for the Toronto Maple Leafs, played a lot against the Buffalo Sabres. So he was asked, I don't know if you guys saw this. He was asked about Cozens. Duthie's like, break down Cozens for me. And the first thing out of his mouth was, young guy that every time I was on the ice against, he competes. So I'm going to take the word out of a former player that played against him versus anybody else because he's got firsthand experience on what kind of player he was. And he doesn't have to say anything. He's not motivated anyway. He's just giving you his history of playing against a player. And he goes, talented guy, really competes, when he's on the ice, lots of skill. I think that's a great move for the Ottawa Senators. And that's a guy like it's those shows are pretty Toronto Maple Leaf centric. Like no, they are. Like, let's be honest.
I know they are. That's why I'm laughing.
Yeah, it is because it's like millions of people watch, right? Yeah. So that's Giordano, played for the Leafs too, but he's giving you his unbiased opinion on what it's like to play against Cozens. And I'm like, I'll take that over anything. So if you want to get in, I'll talk to a guy that just played against that guy and has first-hand knowledge. So that's why I'm a little more bullish than others on this move because I've Giordano's opinion I really respect.
I think he arrives in Ottawa with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, right? Like he's
100%.
Actually got something to prove here, right? As a top 10 guy, former top 10 pick, he's been moved. I think you got everything to look forward to. You got a team on the rise in Ottawa that's pushing for a playoff spot. It's a perfect landing spot.
And he's had nothing. He's had excuses built in for his entire career so far because he could just say, "Well, I'm a member of the Buffalo Sabres." But now we get to see he's out of there. What happens with Dylan Cozens and how does he play?
He's coming in with the name Workhouse. Or can't even say it.
Workhorse from White.
You can't say it.
You had it.
Workhorse from Whitehorse. It's not that tough, Wally. It's not that tough.
By the way, we've added apparently sound effects to our show. So I don't know what we have a bunch of buttons that Jake can push at any moment.
It's pushing all the right ones.
Can we quickly just talk about Mikko Rantanen for a sec before we get out of here?
Yeah, let's. What do you want? He's rich now.
How would you rate the Eric Tulsky trade deadline moves? where you brought in and traded arguably one of the best players in the league in 2 weeks.
He did pretty well too this time.
But Yorkie, hold on a sec. You have no idea what's going to happen with those picks. So you traded a bona fide NHL superstar. You acquired him. But you weren't even sure you could sign him. You are less of a Stanley Cup contending team than you were 2 weeks ago.
Logan, I'm going to tell you this right now. Logan
Stankover is a hell of a player. Do you
Logan
think
Stankover is not he's not a throw-in? Logan Stankoven is not a throw-in. I'll tell you this. I think Logan Stankoven fits better into Rod Brindamore's coaching style and what Carolina is all about than Marty Necas. I think he's a better fit, and he is going to be a really good add. Then they've got 2 first-round picks, so those might not be high first picks.
But you don't know what's going to happen with those picks.
I do know that Stankoven's going to be a heck of a player for Carolina.
I don't question. He's a great player. Are the Carolina Hurricanes closer to a Stanley Cup today than they were yesterday?
What did they give up just before I answer that question? What did they give up with Necas originally? They also gave up Drury, right? Was it Drury that went that way? So I think they're a little better than they originally were when they first traded for Rantanen. So obviously with Rantanen they're better, but I think they're back to where they were when they didn't have Rantanen. But I like how Stankoven fits better with that team than Martin Necas, is what I'm saying. You understand that?
I understand.
I think I totally understand Wally's point. Like I feel with like Necas.
You've now developed a New York player pronunciation guy.
But like, oh man, I'm sorry. It's been a long day. Very similar, right? Like smaller.
Stankoven's like a honey badger out there.
He is. Like, he works hard. He's small. He's 5'9", but like a lot of the same skill set and intangibles, and plays a similar style of, right? So to get first, I think drink the water, spit it out. I'm waiting for it. Yeah, I thought like, well, to your point, just about competing for a cup this year, like I agree with you. I thought like Carolina would have been like one of the picks of the East coming into the season, but like when they make the move to flip Rantanen into Dallas, you think they're going to wind up using those 2 first-round picks as draft currency to go for another guy for Denver now. That didn't happen. So I think that those are assets that, obviously first-round picks don't necessarily turn into anything all the time, but I think that that's still valuable currency that you can use this obviously to go get what you need. But to your point, it doesn't help them right now, which is what they need. That's
all I'm saying. They may be better down, but they were a Stanley Cup contending hockey team.
It doesn't matter. They're not getting by Tampa or Florida with Freddie Anderson. They're not. Unless he has some kind of miracle outer body experience. They're not.
Sure. But you don't know if Florida goes in right now, if they're going to battle an injury down the street. All I'm saying is they were a contender, and now I would take Ottawa in 5 games to beat the Carolina Hurricanes, without question.
Taking who?
The Ottawa Senators to beat Carolina. If they were to play today, like I don't think Carolina can get out of the first round at this point.
What about Jersey? What about Jersey after the whole Syracuse?
See, I don't like any, and even Washington, as we've talked about before, despite their season, they're kind of like the Rangers of a President's Cup winning team where they great regular season, they can't get it done in the playoffs. I don't think anybody in that Metro division now, or the top 3, gets out of the I just don't like any of those teams, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. There's Washington ended up standing pat, didn't they? They didn't do. They had a pretty quiet day today.
Yeah.
I like Washington a lot.
I've been told that they're going to turn the lights off on me within 10 minutes. So
all right,
I'm on the clock.
We got to get going. I got to get to a minor hockey game too. So
okay.
Oh, how was Markham, by the way?
It's so windy and cold here. It's miserable. Yeah.
So you liked it there?
I'm hoping that Lisa's going to buy dinner because I can't afford to take her out twice in a row.
I hope she pays for it with a coupon. I hope so or she. Yeah, I hope she has a coupon.
All right, boys. We're back Monday. I don't know at this point. It should be Monday 9 a.m. We'll keep you posted. Until then, enjoy your weekend. I think the Ottawa Senators are a better team. We should all be happy despite missing Josh Norris here as a good guy. So we'll see you on Monday, everybody. Take care.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks, guys.
See you, Graeme.
Thanks for tuning in to Coming In Hot. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button and be sure to subscribe to never miss an episode.